Treat yourself started as a joke and became a lifestyle tax. You say it after a bad meeting, a long commute, an errand that stole your Saturday, a milestone you were too tired to celebrate properly. The treat is small and reasonable: a latte, a delivery, a dress on sale, a ride instead of a bus, a gadget that promises less friction, a subscription that swears it will make your morning civilized. None of these are crimes. But if your week is a string of treats you hardly remember, and your month ends with a tight chest and a tight budget, the treats aren't treats anymore. They're pressure valves for a system that never cools down. This is not about guilt, it is about design. If you keep reaching for relief that arrives in cardboard, your calendar is underpaying you in rest and meaning. Let's swap the reflex for a framework that makes life feel better while your bank account stops flinching. Start with honesty about the job you're asking treats to do. You're not buying a cookie, you're buying a moment where nobody needs anything from you. You're not buying sneakers, you're buying a new story about yourself because the old one feels stale. You're not buying a ride, you're buying a bubble where you're allowed to arrive as a person, not a pack mule. You're not buying a wine, you're buying the off switch your brain won't grant you on command. When purchases are miscast as little joys, you miss the real purchase you're trying to make: time, agency, identity, relief. Money can buy those for an hour, it cannot install them. That's why the stress stays. The invoice clears, the problem remains unsolved. Marketing doesn't cause this, but it keeps the room warm. Every surface tells you that you will become the kind of person who sleeps well if you subscribe, the kind of person who finishes projects if you unbox, the kind of person with a morning if you buy the mug. Meanwhile, your nervous system is thirsty for something that can't be shipped: a plan you trust, a home that doesn't fight you, work that gives you traction, friends who text when you say you're running an experiment, mornings that begin before screens. So you try to rent those from stores. Stores are happy landlords. You sign the lease with small swipes. The first move is to stop keeping score with deprivation. People here stop treating yourself and imagine a monastery. That fails by Wednesday. The real move is to change where the treat lives in your week, not at the end of a meltdown, but at the beginning of a plan. You schedule small, free, or cheap pleasures like they're important meetings: a walk at 7 p.m. after the hard meeting, a bath on Thursdays with a book that smells like a library, an album you play start to finish while the phone is in a bowl, a friend on speaker while you fold laundry, a chair in a corner with a lamp that forgives you. You install these before the week starts. The nervous system that gets fed on schedule screams less for sugar and boxes. Then you audit your triggers without judging them. You will find 3 patterns: the hunger trigger, the decision trigger, and the loneliness trigger. The hunger trigger is literal and metaphorical. You skipped lunch, the commute stretched, your body asked for fuel, you bought feelings instead of food. The decision trigger is cognitive fatigue. You made 11 choices by noon, and you want to buy the 12th so your head can stop juggling. The loneliness trigger is less obvious. You want to feel seen. Retail is a room where someone smiles, hands you a bag, and says your name. None of this is pathetic, it is human. You prepare for it with actual fuel, pre-decisions, and humans who aren't paid by hour. Fuel first. Batch breakfast or lunch once on Sunday so 12 meals don't depend on your Wednesday willpower. Keep water in reach and snacks that don't lie to you: nuts, fruit, hard-boiled eggs, yogurt, leftovers in small jars. Put a use next bin in your fridge so good food becomes dinner before it becomes guilt. When the hunger trigger hits, you answer with food, not packages. Pre-decisions turn your brain from a courtroom into a conveyor belt. Write a tiny policy for each category that steals your calm. The ride policy: I only ride when carrying more than I can walk with, when weather is dangerous, or when the trip saves 20 minutes I have promised to someone else. The coffee policy: I buy coffee out twice a week on purpose, the other days I make it home and walk while it cools. The clothes policy: I can order 1 item per month from my upgrade list only after donating or selling 2. The tech policy: no purchases after 9 p.m., everything goes to a 24-hour cart. These are not punishments, they are bumpers at a bowling alley for a tired brain. When you are tired, you don't need to be correct, you need rails. Humans are social animals with private carts. Replace paid micro connection with scheduled connection. Put 2 10-minute calls in your week, One with a friend who laughs like a sitcom, one with someone who asks you good questions. Make a standing walk with a neighbor or a colleague. Start a boring club with one person. Once a week, you both do a boring task together on video, emails, folding, spreadsheets, and talk about nothing special. You will buy fewer treats if your week includes proof you exist outside of work and ads. The environment you live in can either tax or tip your willpower. If your kitchen is hostile, delivery wins. Spend an hour making your house your ally. Put a lamp by the chair, clear one table, sharpen one knife, fix the squeaky door, add a hook where the pile grows, move the phone charger off the nightstand. These are not home makeover show gestures. They are frictions removed. Every friction removed is an impulse purchase prevented. A chair you like beats a cafe you rent to escape your own room. Identity plays a loud role. Treat yourself often functions as a permission slip to be a person you like. Tidy, interesting, cared for. Buy fewer identities, build them. If you tell yourself you're disorganized, an expensive planner shows up to audition for hero. If you tell yourself you're learning, a 10-minute session in a free course creates the identity for real. If you tell yourself you deserve style, a capsule wardrobe with 5 silhouettes and 2 colors frees you from trying on personalities in a mirror under fluorescent lights. Identities that are built are cheaper than identities you rent. There's a structural angle too. Your budget may be designed to fund needs and punish joy. That design guarantees rebellion. Switch to a 3-bucket system that gives joy a seat at the table. Needs, the honest costs of staying housed, fed, and employable. Growth, emergency fund, investing, and annual big bills. Wants, weekly free spend for small pleasures. Make the wants weekly, not monthly. A weekly reload is a leash that adjusts to your calendar. When you spend the week's wants, you stop, not because you're bad, but because the pipe is empty until Monday. If your wants have a reliable place, you treat yourself on purpose and stop treating tomorrow like a debit card. Where do subscriptions fit? Subscriptions are treats that grow roots in your ledger. Audit them with a rule. If you haven't used it in 30 days, cancel it. If you use it but it doesn't make your week easier or richer, cancel it. If you love it, fund it from wants and stop feeling weird. Keep a try later list so you can resubscribe without drama during a planned low spend month. Your goal isn't 0 subscriptions, it's subscriptions that earn their keep. Retail therapy is often body therapy routed through a checkout page. Your body is a negotiation between nervous system and posture and breath. Build a 5-minute reset you can do in any bathroom. 2 minutes of slow exhales, a minute of shaking your arms and loosening your jaw, a minute of washing your face or wrists with cold water, a minute of standing like someone you trust would stand. Put your phone away for those 5 minutes. If you still want to buy after you've given your body back to yourself, maybe you actually wanted the object. Most likely you wanted to change state. State changes don't require packages. Work design is part of this. If your day is a series of meetings that offer you no finish lines, you will search for one on your way home in the form of a treat. Create finish lines your boss does not have to bless. Break your work into 45-minute chapters with 3-line checklists. End each chapter with a visible mark on page, boxes filled, a slash across a sticky note, a line drawn. Humans need done. If your job won't give you done, you fabricate it. The body relaxes when it can see progress, and the urge to buy proof that you matter eases by itself. You can test this in one weekend. Run a no-spend reset not to save money, but to observe the impulse. Put joy without buy on the menu. Library, walk, batch a meal, fix 5 tiny things, a movie you already have access to, a call, a bath, a late light, and a book. Write down every moment you reach for your phone to buy something. Next to each, write the need underneath: relief, novelty, identity, belonging, reward, control. By Sunday night, you will have a math of what your spending is trying to do for you. Then you can build those things into your week on purpose, with money that you choose and with free ingredients that were under your sink the whole time. There is also the role of effort and novelty. The human brain likes new. Stores are new in a box, so is progress. Give yourself weekly micro-progress, a page in a journal, a new recipe, a plant that did not die, a drawer that makes sense, a playlist made with care, a bench that now lives by the window. These cost nothing or pennies, and yet they make Tuesday feel like something happened. When something happens, the urge to buy something happened goes quiet. What about genuine treats? Keep them. Treats become sweeter when they are scheduled and tied to effort or to connection, not to collapse. Decide on a couple of signature treats you'll enjoy without apology. A pastry from the one place that feels like a tiny trip, a great bottle shared with friends, a matinee alone. Because they are chosen on Sunday and lived on Saturday, they don't borrow from Wednesday. You stop using treats as anesthesia and start using them as punctuation. Punctuation keeps sentences from running on. If your partner or friends are part of the treat yourself chorus, bring them into the experiment with gentleness. You're not announcing austerity, you are designing a nicer week. Say, I'm trying something for a month, 2 planned treats a week and 1 grocery store upgrade, but no late night taps. One in? Offer alternatives with energy. Potluck and a movie, a walk at golden hour, a toast bar at your place, a theme night that costs nothing and feels like theater. People often want fun more than they want bills. They follow the person with a plan and a playlist. Guilt will try to co-author this. Don't let it. The point is not to find moral purity in your receipts. The point is to make your days delicious in ways that do not charge interest. If you slip, you don't start over at self-loathing. You do a 5-minute autopsy. Were you hungry, overwhelmed, lonely, underslept? Which system could catch that next time? Food, pre-decision, friend, bedtime, a lamp, a walk. You add 1 tiny upgrade and move on. The scoreboard isn't days without treats. It's days where treats were chosen and enjoyed and did their job. If you want a structure in your banking app as supports this, rename your accounts so they tell the truth. Bills for needs, quiet wealth for investing and big annual bills, free spend for weekly wants. Automate transfers the day after payday, oxygen fund first, investing next, big bills, then a weekly reload to free spend. When the card declines on Thursday for a whim, it's not a judgment, it's the calendar saying, next Monday. The relief of being told not yet by a system is bigger than the relief of a late-night affirmative on a purchase you forget by morning. Longer term, change your baseline instead of buying peaks. The most powerful spending is upstream, a mattress that fixes your mornings, a chair that ends your back pain, shoes that make walks default, a knife that makes dinner easy, light where you read, a bike that makes errands fast. These make your day feel more expensive without a receipt every 2 days. If you are going to spend on self, spend on the version of self that lives most of your hours, not the version that shows up in a square online twice a month. Delayed gratification is not required. Deliberate gratification is. Consider also the rituals of end of day. Many purchases happen between 8 and 11 p.m. when exhaustion argues and discipline whispers. Give yourself a different argument. Close with 3 moves. Surface reset, 1 sink cleared, 1 table wiped. Body reset, shower or face wash, blindfold of a warm towel, a stretch. Mind reset, write 3 lines about the day. Pick the first move for tomorrow. Then make your phone boring. Grayscale after 9, shopping apps off the home screen, no saved cards. If you must browse, card it and decide at 10 a.m. You will wake up surprised at how many needs evaporated with sleep. This isn't about banning joy. It is about ending the quiet tax of buying a break because your life doesn't offer you breaks on purpose. The plan is small. Feed yourself before you're starving. Pre-decide where impulse used to live. Schedule humans. Fix 5 frictions. Treat on schedule. Fund wants weekly. Let quiet wealth happen automatically. Move your body. Sleep enough that your brain stops acting like a toddler in a toy store. Do this for 1 pay cycle. Your spending will shrink without a tantrum. Your stress will too. Not because you became perfect, because your week stopped requiring rescue. The culture will keep singing Treat Yourself because it sells. You can keep singing too, but change the lyrics. Treat Yourself becomes Treat Your Week. Treat your future Tuesday to a kitchen that doesn't lie to you. Treat your 4 p.m. body to a snack that isn't a story about being naughty or good. Treat your phone to an app layout that doesn't collude against your calm. Treat your friendships to invitations that don't require a bill to earn their place. Treat your home to light and air. Treat your work to finish lines. Treat your money to a plan that pays you first and doesn't make joy a suspect. Treats stop being a survival strategy and return to being what they were meant to be, sweet, small, and unnecessary, precisely because the life around them works. And when a day really does require a treat, the breakup, the layoff, the grief, you will know it and not apologize.
You will also know that a pastry cannot hold all that pain, and your plan will include people and time and a walk and a bed that catches you. That's the difference between consumer comfort and human comfort. One expires by morning, the other tucks you into a week that doesn't need a receipt to be kind.